everybody got to do?
Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And I came in today to talk about Tamar and Vince. And y'all, again, I know I'm late on a lot of these stories that I've been doing the last couple of days, but I'm just getting back in here and getting my mojo back. And there are a couple of things that, I've seen in the news that I wanted to talk about. And Tamar and Vince were one of them. Y'all, I really don't know what to say about this situation. Here's another person that I'm not particularly fond of. Um, for no real reason. It's just that sometimes she can be a bit aggravating. And when I heard that her and her husband were getting a divorce, I was I was confused and surprised because I don't watch the Braxtons a lot. What I do is I binge watch them. I will tape up a bunch of episodes and then one Saturday when there's nothing on television, I will watch them. So I'm not exactly watching them as the season goes on. I'm catching up. But the last time I watched, she was giving her sister the blues about their marriages and husbands and speaking so highly of her. So this came out of left field for me. Now, I know that was it last year they were supposed to have had a fight at a hotel, her and Vince, and he was supposed to have bitten her finger or something, and they had to call the police on him. And I heard rumors that, you know, he may be a little abusive, but I just thought that they were just rumors because Tamar does not strike me as an abused woman. And let me clarify that because I don't want to rub people the wrong way. Abused women are women that have been beat down and they're afraid of that man. So when they're in situations outside of the home, they don't give that man sass and show out on him or put him down for fear of what's going to happen when they get home. They don't ridicule him or like make fun of him because they know that that can have a negative effect. So that's the reason why when I heard the rumors that he was actually abusing her, I didn't actually believe it. Now, what I do believe is that they get into it. And I believe that Tamar is the type of woman that gives it right back to him. If he puts his hands on her, I believe Tamar is one of those type of women who pick up something and try to cave in half his skull. That's the kind of girl that Tamar strikes me as. Strong in her self-identity, strong in who she is as a woman, and very confident. And she strikes me as the type that would not allow a man to beat on her. So that's what I meant by that. Now, this divorce thing, they're saying that, and by they, I'm saying that the Braxtons are saying that Vince is such a horrible person and, this, that, and the other. He doesn't manage money well and this and that. I'm a little confused with that, y'all, because also I thought that they considered him a decent guy. I know that Tony introduced, um, Vince and Tamar, kind of got them together and everything. One thing led to another, and they ended up married. But I always thought that they considered him good. Now, honestly, y'all, when I very first started watching the Braxtons, and Tamar came on the scene and we got to know her and we got to know Vince. My first impression was Tamar married him for who he was and what he had. That was my first impression. And I always felt like after she married him, she grew to love him. I felt like maybe in the beginning it wasn't like love at first sight, but because he probably was good to her and treated her well, that she fell in love with him eventually. And that is solely based on how pretty she is and her personality. Now, I've heard her say once before that I think she was talking to Tony and she was telling Tony something like, you need to get you an ugly man or something like that because they would be grateful to have you and they'll treat you right and all of that. Now it might have not been those exact words, but I seem to remember her saying that. So when I heard that, I just figured that that's what she did with Vince. And if a man is good to you, even if they're not attractive, if they're good to you and you're a decent person, you're going to end up developing feelings which could develop into love. And I believe that Tamar does love Vince. And I believe that he loves her and he felt lucky to have her. Now, I believe that, like everyone else does, that Tamar has a lot of mouth, that Tamar has a strong personality, and sometimes she can rub you the wrong way. If he's abusing her, I do not agree with that. I don't believe any man should be whooping up on any woman, no matter how much mouth she has. I have a son myself, and if some woman came to me and told me that he was hurting her in any type of way, I would be devastated and I would be trying to whoop his ass. So I don't agree with any type of abuse. I just think maybe these two have grown apart. I believe that with the takeoff of Tamar's career, the more she became famous, I believe the harder it became on their marriage. Prior to that fame, and when the Braxtons first came on, you know, pretty much those first few shows, we watched Tamar asking Vince over and over and over and over and over again, why is it that he could help everyone else reach stardom, but he wouldn't do it for his own wife? I'm wondering, did Vince know that if he did, he would create the Tamar that we have today? And maybe he was reluctant to do it because he knew who he was dealing with and what it would be like once she became famous. Now, that's just a theory, y'all. With their marriage and, this pending divorce and her asking for sole custody of their child, once again, I will say I hate to see couples that have been married a while move towards that divorce thing. It's kind of sad, you know. But I don't think in this situation, that it is a good idea for them to stay together. Because if they're whooping each other up every so often, beating on each other, that's not a good thing because somebody's gonna get hurt. And by Vince being a man, more than likely it's going to be Tamar, just by virtue that he is a man and actually he has more strength than her. I also think that Vince losing weight and becoming a little bit more self confident might have played a role in this too. It maybe was a contributing factor. Maybe Tamar got used to him a certain way, got used to her being the pretty one, the attractive one, and Vince, celebrating her beauty and all of that. But when Vince, you know, started to lose weight, and the more weight he lost, the more confidence he gained, maybe Tamar doesn't like taking a back seat to his confidence, his newfound confidence. And maybe it shifted the dynamic of their marriage because maybe he was saying stuff like, when I was big and couldn't get nobody and blah blah blah, and I let you talk to me any kind of way, and now that I'm losing weight and make myself more attractive, there are women out there that what you don't like, they will, how a man will do that. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe all of these things are contributing to, this breakup. I think also the loss of her spot on that show. I didn't watch it. I forgot the name of it. I don't want to call the wrong name, but y'all know the talk show she was on. There's so many of those little talk shows out here. The Talk, The View, the this, the that. So I don't want to call it the wrong name because it escapes me right now. I think it was The Talk, but I don't know, it's not The Talk. I can't think of the name, y'all, and I don't want to call it the wrong name. But yeah, I think that the loss of her spot on that show and the fact that Vince knew about it prior and didn't tell her, from what we heard, I believe that all of these things are contributing factors to where they are now. Do I think that this is a couple that could, possibly with counseling keep it together? For some reason with them, I don't think so. I think that, like I said, that maybe they've outgrown each other. And the person that I feel most sorry for is their child, because I know that those Braxton sisters were devastated after the divorce of their parents. And I know not one of them, not if I don't know anything else about the Braxtons, I know that they did not want to be women that were divorced. They wanted to be with the fathers of their children, happily married. That is one thing that I know of those women. So for Tamar, this has also got to be playing on her mind. She did not want her child to be from a broken home. But if they can get past the anger that they have right now towards each other and put some distance between themselves and the divorce and give them both of themselves time to heal, I think that they could be good parents for their child. They could co-parent well. But it's hard to co-parent when you can't stand the other person. As a woman, it's hard to co-parent when you can't stand the kid's father, and the same thing with men. If they got a baby mama that makes their life a living hell, it's hard to co-parent with that person. You know, the ideal situation is if the grown-ups put their feelings aside and just be the best parents that they can for the child. Y'all, I always, inject a little bit of my personal life into each of these videos. Let me tell y'all, I'm not speaking from something I don't know. When I first broke up with my ex, y'all, I couldn't stand him. I could have ran his ass over with a car and backed up and ran him back over. But I knew that my children loved him. And no matter what went on between me and him, they did not love one of us more than what they loved the other. So I would have been a bad, and I hate the term baby mama, I'm going to use ex, if I would have poisoned them against him or made it hard for him to see them, or in any way damage that parent child relationship that they needed with their father. You know, that's wrong. I know that there are a lot of women that do that, and I can't speak for other women, but I'm not that woman. No matter how much I can't stand him, no matter what he did to me, no matter, how broken I am, my kids still deserve a right to their other parent. And you do yourself a disservice when you are, you know, that parent that, tries to poison your kids against the other parent. Because let me tell you why I say that. Because if the other parent is as bad as you make them out to be, as those kids grow up, they will see that. You know, if you try to poison themselves, those kids against their other parent, and those kids grow up and they say, well, wait a minute. Mommy always acted like daddy was terrible, and he wasn't wanting to come and see me, and now that I'm older and I can sit down and talk to my dad and find out exactly what was going on, he's telling me something else. Then you have your child coming back questioning you, thinking maybe mommy stretched the truth a little bit. And you don't want to be put in that position where you have to defend yourself if your child catches you in a lie, or if you've bent the truth a little bit. Because sometimes as mother, we might not lie, but we might say, a couple things where we know us, that the man still loves their kid, but we might say some shit that may not be right. And we need our ourselves, smacked for some of the things that we say. Not smacked, y'all. That was the wrong word, but y'all get what I'm saying. As mothers, we're mad at the motherfucker, so we might say shit about them. And we know it's wrong, but we're mad. So I never wanted to be that person. And let me tell y'all, I keep telling y'all that I got a 30-year-old and a 23-year-old. And trust me when I say, whatever I believed about their dad, when they grew up and they can think on their own and, form their own opinions, they came back and told me exactly what I was keeping from them. You know, they'll have a conversation or something that was supposed to go on between them, and it didn't. And this happened too many times to the point where they would come back and basically say, you know what, mom, dad is an ass. And they didn't say ass, but in so many words that's what they meant. So like I said, when those kids grow up, they will learn. So I hope Tamar just wants the physical custody of their son. I think his name is Logan, but she allows Vince to be with his son because, a child needs both parents. I, years ago, would argue you down and, oh, mothers can raise sons. Yes, we can, and we do it well. I was fortunate enough where my son was with the father until he was almost 18. So the heavy lifting was done when I broke up with mine. But what I'm saying is there comes a time in a boy's life, and I learned this from my brother. My brother said years ago when he was younger, and at the time it made my mother mad because she had done the best that she could, but he said, my sisters have you to talk to when they're having problems with boys, or when they're needing to know how to put on makeup or to do this, that, or the other. He said, but I'm a male child. Who do I have to talk to about male things? I want to talk to a man. You're all right. I know you love me, and I know that you're trying to be both mother and father to me, but I need my father. I need a man in my life that I can talk to. And like I said at the time, it hurt my mother. It didn't make her mad. It hurt her because she felt like she was giving it her all, and yet she was falling short when it came to one of her kids. But she grew to understand what my brother was saying. And then when I was parenting my son, even though he made it to almost 18 with his dad, it's weird, but he's 30. And I think he needs him more today than he did when he was younger. Because now he's out in the world and he's dealing with the world as a young black male. Now, my kid's dad, he's passed on. I explained to you guys that he died a little bit before my daughter went off to college. But there are situations that my son is in now that, when he's dealing with women and jobs and the police and just a lot of things that I know that for him it would be nice to, grab a cold beer and get some wings or something and just sit and talk with his dad. You know, they meet at a bar and grab something to eat and just sit and talk, you know. Um, Maybe go out to dinner, go fishing. And what I notice is because my son doesn't have that in his life, he he makes friends with older men. A lot of the friends that he has are not his age. They're older than him. And what he told me is that it gives him a chance to talk to them about life and things that he can't talk to me about. And I'm glad that he realized that he needed that and he sought out what he needed before he made dumb mistakes, if you understand what I mean. So just getting back to Tamar and Vince, I pray that Tamar allows Logan that opportunity. The Braxton women, they're a family of women. It's a lot of womanhood going on there. And through watching that show also, there's some male bashing there too. Now on some tips, it is well warranted with, the spouses that they've had. But you don't want your male son to grow up in a family of women and he watched those women bashing men his entire life. I think that does something to a boy child. Now, y'all, I ain't no expert. I just raised one son. But like I speak about hindsight, I'm done raising my kids. And I can readily admit where I went wrong, what mistakes I made, because these fools are grown and I'm looking at them and I'm saying shit like, ooh, I missed a lesson on that with him, or ooh, I should have whooped her ass a little bit more about that. You know what I mean? So I'm at the point where I wish I can go back and correct some wrongs, some things that maybe I didn't understand when I was younger, and it may have affected, the outcome of something in my child's upbringing. So that's why I know that that relationship with his father is very important to Tamar and Vince's child. And I just hope that, they can get to the place where they're cordial with each other and they can present a front where their child knows that even though both of his parents are not together, he's a loved child and they care enough about him that they are cordial with each other. And with that, y'all, this is the end of the video. I've talked a lot about, talked enough today, I should say. I just want to know what you think about old Tamar and Vince. Did you see this coming? Do you think he was whooping up on her? Do you think they were whooping up on each other? Do you think that Tamar is gonna let him see his son? I don't think that she would keep Logan from her ex, from Vince. I don't think she would. I think maybe in the beginning, when they're mad at each other, maybe during that time. But I think that Tamar's sense of right and wrong will kick in and she will remember how she felt when her dad wasn't putting them first and how she felt about, her dad when her parents divorced. And I think that'll kick in and, make Tamar do the right thing. So with that, everyone, thank you as always for watching my video. I will catch you guys in the next one. You have a great day. Bye bye now.